Now, in this final lecture of this section, we will discuss about records in Java. So, what are records? Records are data only immutable classes. So, they are there is a requirement you seen that in encapsulated class we have to create getters and setters and then we have to create the particular field everything. So what if Java has a feature which will allow us to have these kind of classes automatically generated? So this is a new feature which was introduced in Java 14 records, which allows us to have data only immutable classes. Immutable classes meaning once you initialize an object in that class, we cannot change it. So that is the definition of records. And now let us see some of the features of the records. So the first feature, one feature is records consist of constructors. You can have construct different constructors in records, but all the constructors should call the particular the parameterized constructor of records. So records has a default parameterized constructor which will contains all the particular fields in a record. So the record will be declared like a record following by a parenthesis. Inside the parenthesis, we will declare each record field. So after that, we can have a constructor in the records, but this all the constructors should call the canonical constructor, which is called as canonical constructor or the default constructor for the records we have to call in order to initialize the object correctly. Now let us discuss another feature of record, which is it has default getters and hash code equals other two string. All the methods are available by default in this records. So these methods I will discuss in the object class when we discuss about object class. At that time I will discuss about these methods to string equals hash code. All these methods I will discuss. For now, let us think like for example, toString method is a method in which it will print the representation, string representation of the particular object. So if we implement the toString, then the string representation of the particular object will be printed. Now let us discuss about some more features of records. So the records, as you can see the record syntax for declaring the records. Here is the syntax. So record keyword followed by the record name followed by the parenthesis in which you will declare each field one by one. And records has one more feature which is records can have static methods. So you can declare static methods inside a record. And that is it for this record theoretical session. Now let us see some programs based on records. Hi and welcome to another program. In this program, we are discussing about records. So records, how can we create records in Java? Is like in Eclipse IDE is like right clicking on the particular package and going to new and record. Like that, you can create a record. So that's how we will create a record in Eclipse IDE. So here you can see the particular record student record id name and branch. So here is this is the syntax of declaring a record, and you can see if all the fields in the record has been declared inside the parenthesis. Now let us see the main method for this program. So here in this main method, I have created a student object, and this is a data only class, immutable class. So I created the particular fields using the canonical constructor, which is even though I didn't provide any constructor in the record, there is a canonical constructor which is created for us by the compiler by automatically. So we can use this class as a data only class to store our data informations, and this is how the I'm printing out each values by getting the particular value whether the canonical constructor is setting the particular values correctly or not. And after that I am final statement I will use the toString method which is provided by the default by the records. So the toString method will print out a string representation of the particular record. So that's let us see the output to see how the program is invoking and how the values are getting printed. So here you can see each ID name and branch is getting printed, and the toString representation is like class name followed by the square brackets. Inside the square brackets, each field name comma separated it is coming. and the values also it is coming. That's how the default is two string implementation for record, and that will print the details like that. Now let us see another program on records. Now let us see a program on records with constructors and methods. So here I declared an employee record. In this record, I have given ID and name. I am using the different constructors to set the values. Here you can see I am calling the canonical constructor, which is provided by the default. By default, that constructor will be available. So I am calling those constructors in the inside the other constructors, and this is how you have to use. You have to always call the canonical constructors if you are providing additional constructors to your code. Next thing is we are using a print method to print the particular details, name of the particular employee or record. And using we can have non-static members inside, no, methods inside the records. And again you can have static fields. In down I created a static field. You can have static field inside the record, and also you can have static methods inside the record. So this is how a record, what are the features, which are all the features which are available in the record. Now let us see the main method, how I am invoking this particular record. So here in this main method, you can see they created the record object, and for after creating the object, I am invoking the static method and non-static methods which are present in the record. So let us see the output for this. So here you can see the record, whatever the values are there in the, it is getting printed. So that is a section about lecture about records. So in this section we are covered about the new concept which is introduced in Java, a data only immutable class called as records. So these records allows us to have the data only classes which can have immutable only variables. So it is very handy. With this introduction of these records, we can replace most of the functionality which we return using encapsulated classes. So here you can see the default getters are provided, and hash code equals and toString. All the methods are also provided by the compiler. Along with that, a canonical constructor also is provided, so that we don't need to worry about initializing the object. Already a constructor is provided for you. And the syntax we seen about of records, how we declare a record, like that, all the syntax we seen. And thank you for watching this video. Please continue watching the series.